the SAP Market Report, we started this during COVID. We were getting a lot of inbound calls saying, how's the market? How's the market? How's the market? So what we decided to do is do a quarterly wrap up and put in insights as a market overview, the knock-on effect to the SAP market in Australia, and then some tips for candidates and clients at the time. And we've continued that through. So I think we're 3.5, nearly 4 years into that. Who can believe that after COVID? For those of you that don't know, this is my colleague, Chay Walbeoff, who's a senior SAP recruiter here at Precision Sourcing, and my name is Jay Wynter. I'm the practice director here at Precision Sourcing. So diving into the report, like I said, this would be about 5 to 10 minutes. We'll go through it. Any questions that you've got, please obviously save them to the end, and then you can ask us any questions that you like by typing into the chat bar. Okay. All right. All good. All good. All right. So coming into the report, like I said, this is just the Australian SAP market. And just to give you a bit of an update, we've been in an 18-month downturn. And obviously we had the COVID peak years, that we had a significant increase in hiring, and that plateaued off. And then we've been in a prolonged downturn, which is illustrated by this graph down here. So this graph was given to us by a UK recruitment company, and the US and the Australian recruitment market follows the same trend. So you can see here, normally in an uptick and a downturn, normally a downturn is very, very sharp, and it rebounds back very, very quick. Okay. This here was COVID, as you can see. And then here is the downturn that we've been witnessing for the last 18 months. So this is very, very different from the GFC. It's very different from initial COVID. This is the longest drawn out downturn that we've experienced for a number of years. Like I said, worse than the GFC, worse than the COVID downturn. Normally it bounces back very, very quickly. Okay. Now, the good news is we've seen an uptick since coming back in January. And a good indicator for us as a recruitment company is the amount of permanent placements. So what I mean by that is, in a downturn, permanent recruitment goes down and contract recruitment goes up. Okay. And it's been as low as 18% of permanent placements in the last 18 months. So that's extremely low. We've come back this year, and last quarter, we actually got to 30%. So what does that mean for the market? It means that confidence is growing. It means that new projects are starting. And it means that companies have got a bit of more of a bullish outlook coming into 2025, that, projects need to happen now. So it's good signs since we've come back to the market. But Chay, you're going to go through now, I believe, the knock-on effect of the SAP market specifically.
Yeah, definitely. So what, I guess, us as an SAP team at Precision, so we are a team of 8 recruiters. And I remember in December 2023, we sat down ready for 2024. Big S4 is what we thought. And we actually sat down as a team and went through a lot of customers that we work with, and who were sort of gearing up for a large-scale S4 transformation. So at the time, in December 23, we actually counted there were 32 customers that we have worked with in the past, or we're currently working with, that were moving through that transformation of going from ECC to S4, or kicking off a greenfield program of work. So obviously, as Jay mentioned, we've been in that slight sort of downturn in the SAP market for the last 18 months or so. And in December, just gone, 2024, before the Christmas break, we actually did the same exercise as a team, and went through again what current programs are currently in flight and what programs are actually upcoming. So what we sort of noticed when we were summarizing these projects is, there's a lot of confidence and positivity going into calendar year 2025. And now we know that there are 45 projects in flight at the moment, all coming up. Obviously, 2025 has certainly been a big target year for many businesses to make that transition. And one thing I think worth noting while we're on this particular topic as well is out of that 33 from December 2023 last year, only around sort of 6 or 7 actually continued with that S4. A lot of them sort of put the projects on pause, funding, couldn't get approval, went through the business case, didn't get any further, a lot of challenges, right? So one thing to note here is obviously there is a substantial backlog of customers that are actually going to be making that move. But coming into 2025 calendar year, we've seen a lot more positivity with customers that are actually already on that journey. And I guess what we'll discuss further on will sort of tie into that as well.
Yeah, so thanks, Jay. And you can see that, there's this pent-up demand. Companies were kicking the can down the road and they were waiting. And since then, there's even more projects, like Chay said. So there's more pent-up demand now. So, it's definitely positive for 2025. So some tips for customers. If you're a customer on the webinar here, a potential hiring manager, what that means for you, if you're starting an S4 program or any project, more likely than not, you're going to be going to market at the same time as other companies. So just a couple of points to watch out for here. Obviously, as companies go to market, there's going to be pent-up demand. So potentially getting ahead of the curve with your hiring is number one. And the second one is, if you've got a candidate in play and at the minute there's more candidates on the market, a trend that we've seen customers do is lowball on offer. And what we mean by that is a candidate's asked for X and a client gives Y, which is lower than what the candidate asked. So what the message that we want to get through to customers is that try not to do that in this type of market, because you might get someone through the door, but you'll struggle to hold them as more customers come to the market. So they're the two messages that we want to leave you with. Now, I know we've got some tips for candidates, Chay, that you want to go through.
Yeah. So if you're a candidate in the market, right, there is absolutely no doubt that it's been really, really challenging. Many in the SAP market obviously been very stagnant, and it has been challenging for many people. We've seen that as a team when speaking to a lot of people on the market. Now, moving into, I guess, the new year, and like I said, that positive uplift that we've seen, what I would sort of focus on as tips if you are a candidate in the market is don't sort of take any role, right? A role is coming in and it's maybe not what you're looking for, but you're going to take that role, right? It's really around focusing on the right role, because you don't want to be in a situation whereby you take an opportunity, you're not 100%, and then a better role comes in, the next couple of months and you leave. In Australia, it's a very, very, very small market, and reputation and brand is something that I advise and recommend anyone in the SAP ecosystem to really, really take seriously and really focus on. The second one is flexibility. And if you are looking for flexibility in your life, obviously we've come through that COVID times, people being able to pick their children up from school, people having that additional flexibility of maybe working from home. They're not doing the commute, they're doing a walk down the beach, right? Enjoying that time. And a lot of people, me included, I never want to lose that. So flexibility is really, really important. But in order to have flexibility, you need to show flexibility as well when you're going to market with your demands, right? So whether that's, working hybridly, whether that's, your daily rate, if there needs to be some flexibility with that, salary, there's a lot of things. Flexibility means a lot of different things, but having that as something to focus on when you are in the market currently at the moment is really, really important.
Yeah, and it's a really good point. We've got a bit of a trade-off at the minute. We're having customers come to us saying, must be in the office 5 days, non-negotiable. And we're speaking to candidates, we're addressing the candidate market, and they're saying, we want fully remote or a couple of days a week. So there's this kind of Mexican standoff at the minute between customers and candidates. So it'd be really, really fascinating over the next few months how that materializes as the market gets busier and as there's more vacancies. So yeah, like Chay said, I think there's a bit of give or take both ways. We have been for the last few years in a employee-driven market from COVID, and then obviously in the last 18 months that has ticked back over to an employer-driven market. So yeah, it's fascinating watching that develop. Now, if you're a customer on the call or a potential hiring manager that may have a greenfield program or looking at to implement SAP for the first time, in our report, and we'll send this out to everyone that's signed up for the webinar afterwards, but in the report we put a bit of a cheat sheet, and the reason why we've done this is you'll be surprised to know the amount of times that we take a job description from a customer and they may ask for 25 years S4 experience or 10 years BTP or whatever, yeah? So what we've done is we put this cheat sheet that you can see when the new technologies were released and what to expect from the market. And we're always advising clients as well, candidates don't necessarily have to have S4HANA experience. Yes, it helps, absolutely. But they need to have the foresight to take the customer on the journey and be forward thinking. The reality is there's not enough S4 experienced candidates in the market to cope with the demand that's going to come.
So moving into the next slide here. So this is like a general market snapshot, and obviously you'll get a copy of this particular report. But the two main things that I want to focus on here is obviously, as you can see at the top left, is the job titles in demand. So what we've seen as a team is a lot of senior roles in demand, right? So project management, program management, solution architecture, enterprise architecture, and what that generally is a representation of is exactly where we see the market. A lot of these new projects going through the business cases, getting approved, getting that resource plan together, and the first key hires that businesses are looking to bring in are obviously at that senior level, right? That leadership level of project program management and the architecture focus as well, and some leads as well in different streams for the large programs. So that is something that we've seen as a big demand from the market. The second one is around rates, and it's a topic that I guess Jay and I have with many people in the market on a daily basis, right? And rates obviously went absolutely skyrocketed through the roof a number of years back during COVID, during that crazy period. Now, as you can see here, there's been a 7.3% decrease in daily rates from last quarter. So we have seen a bit more of a stabilization phase and a realization back to, I guess, what the market's had, or the market has seen in past before. So that's something that we've noticed from a rate standpoint as well.
Yeah, and I think that rate standpoint, it came from customers stealing resources off each other as we went through that COVID boom. And then in the last 18 months, we've been in a downturn, and there's less of that, and there's a lot of correction with companies, a lot of redundancies, a lot of people coming onto the market. And there has been a correction in salaries and rates. Now, one thing we want to mention as well, just in a busy market, these are our learnings from COVID, but the clients and customers that done extremely well attracting and then retaining talent as well was engaging exclusive retainer models. And that way, the reason why we say that is because it eliminates speed and you get the best person, not the quickest person. So we've put that into the report as well. And if you want to know more about engaging on a retain or exclusive model, obviously feel free to follow up afterwards. But yeah, that's the main point there, is it mitigates that speed and is the best person that you'll get. Yeah. I was going to say, lastly, going into 2025, because of that pent-up demand, we are extremely bullish. Like I said before, just to summarize, we're at that 30% mark in terms of permanent hires now, which does indicate more confidence coming in. And then lastly, the other big confidence point that we've got is I've been back now since the 6th of January. Since then, we've had significant amount of inbound work. And there isn't a magic switch that someone, presses and says, right, we're out of a downturn now. But permanent hires and inbound calls from customers looking to hire is an extremely positive sign that the market has shifted. And it definitely feels that way, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Excellent. So there's the conclusion of the report. Like I said, we'll send this out to everybody. If you don't get sent a copy, you can find it on my LinkedIn page as well under featured content. And like I said, we'll be doing these webinars every 3 months after the report is done. But we'll open it to the floor now. If you have any questions, type in the chat bar. And Chay and I will stick around for 12 minutes, and we can answer as many questions as possible. So fire away in the chat bar. If you have no questions, no problem at all. Thank you for joining. And like I said, we'll send you the report straight away. Fire away in the chat bar. Rahul, I see you typing. Thank you for your question. We'll just wait for that to come through. Sharish, Mark, nice to see you on here. Thank you for logging in. Couple of people typing. All right, Chay. So this is a question for Rahul. Rahul, thank you for your question. Appreciate that. Chay, he says he has a strong SAP background through the lack of direct implementation experience. Could you guide on how to approach this in job applications where this is cited as a need? So I think the question's there. The client needs it, but candidates might not have that.
Yeah, look, I think with that, it's a good point there, Rahul, right? Because obviously a lot of clients, especially that we sort of work with, generally when they're looking to hire a certain resource, obviously, hands-on experience, right, is really, really valuable in what they look for. What my recommendation would be is sort of upskilling, right? So some of those areas that Jay had mentioned on the previous slide, that you can look at new technologies. So whatever that is, let's say, for example, whether it's public cloud. So having a look into some certifications around public cloud, taking further sort of readings into that, S/4HANA, certifications within your area, and also having a look at, what has the job in the job description, what exactly don't you have? If it's just the experience, try and look at maybe some opportunities where you can grow into that kind of role. There are some customers that I currently work with at the moment whereby, the current team only have ECC experience, right? But they will be getting the first sort of place into the team, I guess, moving into the S4 program because they want everyone in the business to be there for that transformation, that journey, and to ultimately, develop and grow as they get through that. So I think to summarize that, it would be upskilling, looking into some different areas, for whatever specific role that would be, whatever area of the technology, whether that's BTP, public cloud, development, it could be various different things, or looking at opportunities where it may not be imminent, but you can actually develop and grow and gain that hands-on experience further down the line.
Yeah, I can add to that as well. What we see a lot of, Rahul, is say if you've had 10 years of experience working in a specific domain and you may have gone contracting. And Chay mentioned earlier about flexibility being key. Now, a lot of those emerging new technologies, customers won't have that talent. So what they tend to do is outsource to a system integrator. And SIs, they tend to hire, not all the time, but they tend to hire for headcount and build their practice. So what we see a lot of is, oh, I've been contracting for 8 years. I want to remain on a contract and I want the new technologies. But if you think about what a contractor is, it's a specialist in a particular area. So in terms of flexibility, some contractors may have to, convert to perm to get that experience. This is just an option to get that experience through a systems integrator. And then once they become an expert in that field, then go back out contracting. So yeah, that's an option, as well as obviously the upskilling. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully that answers your question. A couple of options there. All right. Any other questions? We see a few people typing away. All right. As we know, there's a dearth of S4 skills in the market. What is the strategy of hiring managers, and what are they looking for in candidates, and how they're looking to tackle this situation when market more projects materialize and expecting further this year? It's a good question. Yeah. What do you reckon to that?
Look, I think that is going to be a huge challenge for a lot of businesses, right? Towards last quarter when we were meeting customers, our recommendation was obviously, well, our advice was at the time is businesses that move first will get the pick of the best talent in the market, right? That's how it is. So we're even seeing customers that are in that resource planning phase right now are hiring, and they are actually getting good traction with really, really strong candidates in the market. As we materialize further down, I think that there will be additional challenges with that, and how companies, I guess, can mitigate that. It is going to be, we're in a talent short market, right, in Australia anyway, especially in SAP. It's a very niche area, so it's going to be something which will be really, really difficult. And I think that businesses may need to look at, very similar to what Jay's mentioned there, who come in, does someone have the soft skills, is able to present and guide the customer through the journey, and through the process, right? And then obviously gain that skills as they progress through the position, the project. So it is a very, very known fact that is going to be a challenge here.
I think customers, it will get to a point where if they have some knowledge in the team, they might hire to pair them up. So hire someone without the knowledge, pair them up so they can do the knowledge transfer, and almost learn on the job. I think it will get to that point, because the customer's got a choice. They either steal a resource of another company and pay more. That's what happened in COVID, or they adapt. Some companies that we know, they've gone down the graduate route as well, and again pairing them up with knowledge within the business. We're actually looking at a potential graduate program as well, because I think the companies that crack talent generation in this market will really, really do well, because there's not enough at all. So there are, like I said, there are a few things customers can do, but I reckon the number one thing would be learning on the job with some sort of new technology experience within the team would be key. I know SAP have a lot of free certifications and free learning as well. So that's good. All right. Any other questions? We've got a couple of minutes left. Like I said, this report will be sent out. Hopefully you found some insights or found it insightful. Feel free to reach out to us direct if you have any feedback on how we can improve these and what you'd like to learn for next time. But yeah, like I said, the message I want to leave you with, and Chay wants to leave you with, is I think 2025 is going to be very good and a very lucrative market. My message to candidates would be wait for the right role, not the first role. And for customers, really focus on retention, because when we went through that uptick before, a lot of companies were losing resources left, right, and center because it got very, very busy. So holistic retention strategies, even like weekly check-ins with your staff, You can do things like a completion bonus on a program, for instance. So all different techniques to retain staff. But yeah, there's no more questions. Thank you everybody for joining in today. And yeah, feel free to reach out to Chay or I or anyone in the SAP team here at Precision Sourcing if you would like any more insight.
I'll see you.
All right,
Thank you, guys.
no problem. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.